We're here with Hayden Paddon. My name's Ricki Prime, so nice to meet you. Yeah. We're here on behalf of Northlanders.co.nz, and we're going to be doing a quick interview. As I said earlier, we started off, we did a bit of a research up on you. Ton of accolades. You've had heaps. Can you tell us a little bit about what you've been enjoying in your career so far?
God, it's been I'd probably say a very long career so far.
Yeah.
Motorsport's been in my blood since I was born. My father was a driver growing up, and then into go-karts from the age of 6, driving rally cars as soon as I got my license, motorsport license when I was 12, and then of course normal driver's license when I was 15, doing the first rally with the lunar plates. So since then, 15 years now since our first rally, and a lot of highs, a lot of lows, but yeah, very lucky to do what we do around the world, competing in the World Rally Championships, a dream come true, but we're still obviously striving towards that ultimate goal of trying to be world champion.
Yeah, definitely awesome. It's actually interesting watching you do your thing. One of the things you said there was your dad was into the driving. I also saw that your dad was into rally. Is that correct?
Yeah, he was a rally nut, if you like. So he got hooked on it from a young age, and was driving more on a national level here in New Zealand. And for me, I was just brought up in that environment and rallying and the sport. It's not just a hobby for me; it's actually a way of life. It has been my whole life. So everything I do is about rally. Everything I work towards and sacrifice is for rally. So I just love every minute of it, and especially when you get in the car and put on the helmet, that's certainly the happy place.
I can definitely see that. Very passionate. Everyone sees it. Now, one of the biggest questions, one of the biggest things that people have said to me as soon as I say your name is Argentina. Tell us about Argentina, bro.
Well, that's a positive and a negative, because the win at a WRC rally is absolutely incredible. The win it in the way we did with the last stage battle with the current world champion. It was one of those things that you'll always remember, especially being the first one. The frustrating thing is that it was also our last win, which was 2 years ago on the World Championship circuit. So we've been striving ever since to try and repeat that. But, we've had a lot of bad luck, if you like, over the last 12, 18 months. And we believe we can do it again. So we don't want to just be remembered for one rally. We want to be remembered for a lot more than that. So hopefully that happens over the next sort of 12 months.
How long have you been racing for Hyundai?
We signed up with Hyundai in 2014 when they first come into the World Rally Championship. So yeah, now maybe that's them calling now actually. So, we've been with them 4 years. This year, unfortunately, we're on a bit more of a part-time program. So our program got cut from 13 to 7, but we're using that as a bit of fire or fuel to the fire, so we can come back and get the full program next year again.
Yes. Nice. I was thinking about your car, and I quickly looked at it, and I was like, oh, that's a pretty cool car. What's your favourite feature about the car?
The car here we have in New Zealand is what we call an AP4 regulation. So this one here is still a very nice car, but it's still quite different to our World Rally car. The best way to compare them is, we have a $250,000 car there. A WRC car is a $1 million car, and they're just incredible pieces of machinery. What you can actually do in the car is, the amount of grip, the speed, the acceleration, the suspension travel, the gearbox, just everything is fine-tuned to the absolute limit. So, yeah, just amazing cars to drive, and you don't really get an appreciation for what they are until you're actually sitting inside the car.
So can you explain the feeling you get when you're racing?
It's a really hard one, actually. You sort of go into this subconscious place. For me, there's no better place, because you almost have tunnel vision when you're on the stage and doing the thing. You forget about everything else in the world, and you're just like dancing with the car, and you're in sync with the car. Everything's just sort of subconsciously happening. You're listening to the pace notes from the co-driver, and your body's just automatically putting those descriptions into actions with your hands or with your feet, with the accelerator or brake. And when you're having a good stage, everything's just really, really easy. So of course we have a few moments and maybe a few little crashes here and there as well, which sort of wake you up a little bit. But it's quite quite an amazing feeling.
Yeah, after watching a couple of your videos on the whole idea of how to drive in the rally, there was a video that really popped up, and I loved it. It was actually about pace notes. Your co-driver, pace notes. Can you tell us a little bit about pace notes and what's going to help you sort of stay focused and winning?
Yeah, it's a big team sport. So not just only the people in the service park and the people fixing the car, but also the co-driver plays a big role. So yeah, we have a set of pace notes. Unlike circuit racing, we don't do the same corner every 10 or 12 times. We do 300 or 400 kilometres of stages with every single corner different. The conditions are always changing. So the pace notes help us to tell us where we're going, but also paint us a picture of how fast we can drive each corner. So every single corner is detailed. We have a number system, 1 to 8 for the gradient of the corner. And then we might put 5 additional pieces of information on that per corner that describes the length, apex, cut, don't cut, jumps, length of the straights, everything. And basically, it's a language that as soon as he tells me these instructions, it paints a picture in my head of exactly what's coming up, and then I drive accordingly.
Now, do the pace notes, is that all to do with like just what the co-driver's saying to you, or does that coincide with what's going on your steering wheel? Because I saw sticky tape on your steering wheel, and I was like, that's similar to DJing. We have like little markers on DJing records. So I was like, oh yeah, let's find out about that.
Yeah, well, obviously before every rally we do what we call a reconnaissance when we go out in a road car, restricted, low speed, 70, 80 kilometres an hour, and we go through and we write the pace notes. So on this I read to my co-driver what I want the pace notes to say. He writes it down, and then yeah, we have a set of steering markers on the steering wheel which we use as a guidance of the gradient for each corner. So we align that up with the centre mark. It gives us a number, and then we put some other information around that. And then second pass of the reconnaissance, he'll read those notes back to me. We check them, and then the first time we drive them at speed is on the rally.
How you feel when you race? This is a really quick question. Is it more intense before the pre-hype, or is it more intense during?
You're probably more nervous before with all the hype and just getting into it. You probably relax more once you actually start the rally, because that's when you're in your happy place, as I say. But of course, it depends how the rally's going as well. You can get a bit amped up if things are not going quite so well.
How do you feel you're doing in the rally this year?
Well, so far so good. It's pretty early in our season. We've only done 2 rallies. We got a top 5 in Sweden, our first WRC rally of the year, which we're happy enough with. And then we won the first rally here in New Zealand 3 weeks ago. So yeah, we've got a long season ahead now. We've got another 12 rallies ahead for the rest of this year. So straight on the plane on Monday after this rally, back to Europe to get into Portugal and Sardinia, and hopefully we can start getting some podiums over there.
You move around the world really fast. Do the pit crew meet you there, or do you meet the pit crew there? How does that work?
Different teams. So here in New Zealand we run our own team. So it's me and my father. We have a team of about 7 or 8 really good friends, and we're all very passionate about it. Doing things on a lot more of a budget with support of our local sponsors here in New Zealand, particularly Hyundai. But overseas, it's a Hyundai global program. There's over 220 people now in the team to run 3 cars, completely different scale. So yeah, it's a professional team. We fly over there, and our job is just to purely drive the car. Okay,
so this is pretty simple. Since your last race in Whangarei, have you been back to Whangarei since then?
No, our last time was here in 2016, so this is the first time back in 2 years, but always love coming back here. It's actually a special memory here. This is where I won my first ever rally back in 2007, so it's a place I always enjoy coming back to.
Brings back the memories, eh?
Oh, yes.
Good old Whangarei.
How old I'm getting too.
What's that?
Reminds me how old I'm getting too. So
you're a pretty young fella. I got to say, I just got to put it out there. And on that, happy birthday, April 20th there.
Yeah, thanks. I don't need reminding.
What'd you get up to?
Working on the rally car actually, so it was a pretty low key day.
Yeah, well, you still enjoyed it, so that's what you do. So yeah, on the topic of Whangarei, is there anywhere in Whangarei that you'd like to visit?
Oh God, I'm not much of a tourist to be honest. I must say when we're out on the rally out in the backcountry roads, we see some pretty spectacular places. But even just seeing the town here, being I only come here every 2 or 3 years, just seeing how the town's evolving all the time, new roads, new businesses, the place is looking great, and especially when you've got nice weather like this, it's a good place to come to.
You obviously have a huge passion for the sport, and there's others like you that are coming up. How are they going to get recognised to get into the sport at the level that you're at?
Yeah, it is difficult to make that transition to go from New Zealand level to international level, particularly in Europe with the WRC is very, very tough. The biggest barriers is a financial commitment. You basically have to multiply it by 10 to get over there. So, yeah, the biggest thing is you got to be patient first and foremost. It doesn't happen overnight. You got to work really hard. You have to have some good people behind you, good supporters. So it comes back to first you got to prove yourself in New Zealand, get the people behind you, and then just never give up. Just keep pushing and keep believing.
Yeah, that's good information there. So on that note, how did you get noticed and picked up by the world circuit?
It was a very long process. We were lucky to be in the right place at the right time throughout the process. The biggest probably step we made is when we won what they called a Pirelli Star Driver Scholarship back in 2010. We actually won the qualifier here in 2009, went to Rally Australia, won the final, and that gave us 6 rounds fully funded in the WRC in 2010. So that was a big step that we needed, but then following that we had to then do things ourselves. So then we set up a company and sold our story, sold the dream, and got a whole lot of investors involved, and we had 65 plus people in New Zealand that believed in my dream and got behind us and helped us through those next steps over the following 3 years.
That sounds like you did your homework for real.
Yeah, it was a long process, very hard process. As I say, the financial barriers is the biggest thing. You know, you're preparing for a rally, but at the same time you're on the phone back home to New Zealand trying to find money, because if you don't pay the bill before the start of the rally, you don't start. So it was very, it was hard work, hard to focus on the driving when money was always in the back of your mind. But if it was easy, everybody would do it.
I like that you've put an emphasis on what needs to be done. That's really important, and I think people need to find the drive if they want to take it to the next level. Do you think?
Oh, 100%. I think if you're passionate about something and you enjoy it, then you find ways to make it happen. Even when it seems impossible, there's always a way. It just means sometimes you got to take a step back to take 2 forward.
Who do you think your biggest competition is?
In general?
I don't know. The given notes are, who do you think your biggest competition is? Answer it how you may.
Well, to be honest, it's probably myself. I'm a very competitive and very self-critical person, especially in this game. In rally, we don't see our competitors on the stages. It's us versus the clock. So all we can control is a job that we do on the stage, and I'm always trying to push for perfection. Still a long way off it, but I'm trying my hardest to get there.
I think after speaking to you now, researching up on you extensively, and seeing a lot of what you do, and hearing the great stories, Argentina, I think you're going to have a great season. So thank you for the interview, mate.
Thanks very much. Really appreciate it.
Awesome.